Hello, everybody. Welcome to our latest in the Alumni Webinar Series. And I'm seeing people coming in now, so I'm not going to officially start for the next minute or three as more and more people join us. And then I will officially say, how's it? We are recording the session, and for those of your colleagues, friends, and management that you'd like to view the recording, it will be available to them in two places. One, everyone that's registered will get the recording, and of course it is available on our website under the alumni tag. All right, we've now got 11 people in. Let's give it another minute, folks. We'll start at 15:32. 2 minutes, 32 minutes past 3.
Sing so long.
Yes, please, Tim, would you?
We don't want to chase anybody away.
Yeah, well, there's that. I haven't heard Tim sing, so I'm open to the experience.
No, I'm telling you, we don't want to.
Alrighty then. Another couple of seconds and then we'll get going. Tracy, you want to fill in the gaps for us? You're going to go mute again. You've gone mute again. Well done.
What do you want me to do?
I was just wondering if you could do a bit of a song and dance for us, but maybe not.
Yeah, no.
No, okay. Right, here we go, folks. Everybody, welcome everybody to the next in our series of alumni webinars. Quick rules, the mics are all on. So if you want to talk, you're welcome to talk. If you're shy to talk, please post questions and comments in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. The talk today is on AI for sales, generative AI for sales. The recording will be available to everybody that registered, and of course it is also available on our website. So if you've got friends, relatives, cousins, aunts, and colleagues that you think will enjoy this talk, they're welcome to find it on the website, or as I say, you can pass the recording on to them. I'd like to introduce you to Tim, who's our managing director. He is known as the Professor because of his passion for effective learning. Now, Tim founded the Sales Institute in around about 2000, so we're 24 years old this year. He's worked with sales teams and their leadership to increase performance for over 20 years. He's built and delivered customized sales skills programs for several large organizations, including Microsoft, Dimension Data, and First National Bank. On that basis, I'd like to hand over to Tim. Thank you, Tim, for today, and we look forward to hearing about generative AI for sales.
Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Really nice to see names that I know from years past or months past. So really too good to be with you. I'm just going to share my screen quickly, and then we'll get going with the presentation. So before I get going, I'm just interested, I don't need to hear your voice, but just give me a thumbs up if you are currently using Copilot, ChatGPT, or any of the current tools to help you with your work. Just give me a thumbs up if you're one of those, if you're currently using it quite regularly. I'm just interested. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of you are. Okay. Good. Okay, so that's good news that you have done some work with it. And then also, for those who are wanting to learn about it, as you heard, my name is Tim Keys. I just want to explain my interest in this topic and why I'm here today. Apart from the sales training, I do a lot of work with Microsoft around how to sell Copilot, which is Microsoft's equivalent of ChatGPT. So for those who don't know, if you go on to Windows or you go on to Microsoft Edge, the Copilot that you get there is actually the same as ChatGPT. It's built on the same model. So what Microsoft did right in the beginning was they did a licensing deal with OpenAI, to the guys who started ChatGPT. So when I talk about Copilot and ChatGPT interchangeably, please forgive me. I am biased because I spend a lot of time on Copilot. I also work with something I'll mention later on. There's something called Copilot for Microsoft 365, which I'll just mention right at the end that you might want to consider. But both of these at the moment, both of these generative AI tools are available at no cost if you are using the standard one out of the browser. We don't know how long ChatGPT will allow this. What they did last time is they allowed the version 3.5, and then when they went to 4, they allowed it for a little while, and then made 4 payable, and 3.5 was the free product. So as it stands right now, they're currently on version 4.0, which was version 4. So I find that quite funny, where they added a lot of voice recognition technologies into the product, and they called it 4.0. So what we're going to look at today is not only my interest in what is generative AI and how can you use it, and what's a good prompt and what are the best practices, but I want to show you 10 use cases for using, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT. I'm going to show you how to use it in the world of sales. And I'm hoping I can surprise you with just how many use cases there are. Now, please, I want to say this to you up front. This is an enormous topic. It really is very big. I've spent the last year studying this, and I'm nowhere near understanding it. The world, incredibly powerful the more you use it. So I'm really expecting this to be a continuous dialogue between us, is that as you want to learn more about how to write good prompts, what the feature sets are and things like that, please make contact with me and ask me any questions you have. This is something you get better at with time. So I'm going to give you the basics today. I'm going to give you some examples of prompts. Happy to share. I've got a whole library of prompts sitting on a Word document I'm happy to share with you. So, please, what I'm really trying to do today is get you excited. So let's talk about what we're going to cover. So the first thing I want to do is just give you a reason to use Copilot. There is a reason, and it's a technical reason. And then I want to take you through, when you write a prompt, what are the best practices? So if you're going to use this tool, you got to know how to write good prompts. I don't know if you've heard of garbage in, garbage out, GIGO. It's the case here, is that the quality of your output is the quality of your prompt. Then I'm going to give you these 10 use cases, and then we will open the mics for discussion. So I'd really like to hear from you. Yes, Sean.
Sorry, Tim, I just wanted to ask, when you talk about a prompt, what you're saying is how you get this thing to react to you. Am I right? Like a question.
Yeah. So if you look at, if you're going to use something like Google, you would write a query. In AI terms, we call that a prompt. So it's the question that the conversation you're having with AI, or the effectively the questions you're asking. Yeah, 100%. We call that a prompt.
Thanks,
Right now, to show you how prompts work, one of the things that version 4 accelerated versus version 3.5 was the ability to create pictures. And so the big shifts right now in generative AI, and by the way, this is going to explode, is graphics and voice. So in the next 6 months, everything we do guaranteed is going to be voice recognition. Instead of typing, you're going to be talking to your computer, and the AI tool is going to be doing the work for you. But it still means you need to ask the right questions. So, we were talking about a prompt. I want to show you how I built this one. So the first 5 or 6 pictures you see, every one of them was created in Copilot. So these pictures do not exist. If you did a search now, you wouldn't find them. I create a merge picture by issuing or writing a prompt. So I want to show you this one. So what I asked for was create a picture of a cape-wearing superhero has AI emblazoned on her chest and has a computer for a head. The superhero is standing on a cliff hurling lightning bolts. Now, what I wanted you to see immediately is the level of detail required to get the information you need. So you'll see that I didn't say create for me an AI robot. I was very specific about what I wanted, the computer relationship, the fact that you're sitting on a cliff, that it's a superhero, and that there are lightning bolts. So that's what I want to show you today, is you've got to be very specific. Now, what Copilot does, and to be honest, I haven't even done this in ChatGPT. You can try it. But in Copilot, it always gives you 4 examples. And then I'll show you later on one that I changed, where I said, no, please change this from, I didn't like the fact that it was a man, I asked for it to be a woman. And another one, I said, please make it more culturally appropriate. And each time the picture changes and it gives me this result. So here's a great example of what I described as a prompt, which is this detail where I'm instructing what is known as the large language model. I'm instructing it to give me this info. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of how a prompt works. Now, what can you do with Copilot in sales? So I sat down and I wrote the stuff that I do all the time. And I stopped when I ran out of space. So just very quickly, I'm going to go through this very fast. You can ask questions. You can summarize text or PDFs. You can summarize documents. You can personalize buyer content. So your sales messaging, your collateral, your marketing material. You can personalize your learning. You can create, other content like, social media content. Maybe you want to write some blog articles, even an ebook. You can research your market. You can analyze your competitors. I was so happy the other day. I typed into ChatGPT, find the top 5 sales training companies in South Africa and compare them in these areas. And we were number 3. I'm not sure how, but I was number 3. So I was quite impressed. But it gave me details from websites, and thank you very much, Vanessa. It gave me details and things around my competitors. What do they do? What do they offer, etc. Where their offices. So I created a whole competitive analysis. Create social strategies. So I'll show you one later on. Create a series of emails. Write emails is the other one. Create presentations and videos. Generate leads. Write in a compelling way. Research prospects. Generate ideas. Overcome objections. So there's so much you can do if you just take the time to use the technology. Now, what I want to do is show you the top 10. Now, before I do that, I want to explain to you why I use Copilot. There's a very simple reason, apart from the fact that Microsoft pays me money. The Copilot is a little different. If you have a Microsoft 365 account, and I just want to stress this, it requires that you have a Microsoft 365 subscription. So if you are not using Microsoft 365, this won't be applicable to you. But what it does, if it's Microsoft 365, you'll notice on the top right-hand corner, it's showing protected. Now, when you log in to the Copilot account using your Microsoft 365 account, it will then protect any information or prompts or documents that you share inside of your Copilot. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. Let's say I want to build out some kind of a data sheet based on one of my courses. I could attach that course using this little icon here, the little clip, and I could say, summarize the material and create a data sheet for me. And it would create it for me. It would summarize my manual. Now, if I don't have this protected, that then will go and train up what is known as the large language model. So what happens with ChatGPT is there's the secondary large language model. It's the kind of the combination of the thinking brain of these tools. And if you are using standard ChatGPT, just be aware that anything you type in here, anything you share in there, will then go and train up the large language model, which means that people using ChatGPT or Copilot would theoretically be able to get access to that information. So that's the one issue with using these tools. Now, what ChatGPT does, as well as Copilot, or it's Copilot, it's because you have Microsoft 365. For you to get that level of security, ChatGPT will charge you $20 a month. So the added security is an add-on. So just be aware of that. If you have Microsoft 365 like I have, and you log in with Microsoft 365, it will then protect your data internally. It doesn't go to the language model, but it will go and search the language model. So in other words, your data is protected, but it'll still do what ChatGPT does or what Copilot does, which is to give you the information you need. Please, I've given you my email address. This is what I do a lot of my day. So if you want to learn more about the Microsoft 365 side and the Copilot side, please let me know. But all of the examples I'm going to show you today, those are all done on Copilot, purely because I have this level of security. Okay, now let's look at the 10 items. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the content that I'll give you the prompt I used for the picture. So let me do it this first. So this is, again, totally done by Copilot. I said to it, show a salesperson talking to a CIO, and they must be quite serious, and they must be in formal wear, and I would like a laptop, please. That was my language, and this is what I got. So again, very specific what I'm looking for in the picture. Now, to give you that idea, when you write a prompt, number one, what you've got to do is think about it as if you've got the world's cleverest person sitting in front of you. So if you had access to the brightest person you know, how would you ask your questions to them? So you wouldn't be very vague, you would be specific. You would talk in full sentences. So in this case, when you write a good prompt, there are a couple of things to consider. The first one is don't do, short sentences or, just a couple of words. Write in complete sentences, as if ChatGPT or Copilot's your best friend. In fact, sometimes I forget this is not a human being. So the first thing you want to make sure is complete sentences. Like in this example, I said, create a picture for me of two people. The one person must be a woman, the other person a man. The man needs to be, or one of them needs to be a CIO. I just said one of them needs to be a CIO, and it's got to include the following. So those were the sentences that I would write. So they're full sentences. I'm having a conversation. The second thing is you want to frame it through questions. So what I regularly do, and you'll see it later on, is most of my questions are, could you explain to me, tell me about, what would you consider? So the reason that I ask it in questions is I can then create embedded questions. So the thing with Copilot is when you create a prompt, you very seldom get all the information you want from one prompt. So then what happens is when you start asking questions, you can then get details. Let me give you an example. On the next, that one that I'm going to give you, the example of a prompt, I actually said to Copilot, if I was to create a prompt like this, would you mind helping me with the best way to say it? I want to find out the following information. What would the prompt look like? And I clicked on a button. It then said, Tim, here, this is the prompt you should be using. I then put in the prompt, and then you'll see that based on that information, I can continue to interrogate ChatGPT or Copilot. So the secret is you very seldom get the perfect prompt up front. The secret to this tool is just to ask good questions. And if you ask good enough questions, you get the detail you're looking for. So first ask it about the process involved. So the other day, Jean asked me to do a company profile. So the first question was, what should go into a company profile for an organization that does the following? Please ask me the right questions so that I can answer it and then create the profile. And then it gave me step by step, Tim, what are your companies? What's your company's history? What's your aim? What's your value proposition? And it gave me a series of questions and I answered them. And while I did that, with all that information, it then gave me the information, gave me the profile. So the secret is ask a lot of questions and ask questions about the process and the best way to phrase it, and then use that for the information. Be very clear on the output you're looking for. I'll show you examples later on. Are you looking for a table? Are you looking for a song? Are you looking for a picture? What is this output? What should be the conditions of the output? How long should it take? Who's the audience? So what is the output you're looking for? And then this is the very clever thing about this tool, is you can teach it. So what it does is the more you use either of these tools, specifically in my world, Copilot, because I have a much closer relationship because of the Microsoft 365. But if I start putting in information, the whole time it's learning about me and then starts shortcutting my questions. So now it knows that I'm in the world of sales and I'm a sales trainer, etc. So now it starts to assume things about me because it's learning about me the whole time. So we call that training the engine. So if you give it, for example, great, I did this the other day. I said, here's some really good websites that I think are very clever. Please analyze them for me and use some of the language here to tell me what you think should be in my website. So now the engine remembers that. And the next time that I start talking about websites, I've already trained it. If you put in content and you say, this is my typical writing style, it'll remember that writing style. And in future, when you say, write me an email, it'll write it in your style. So the whole time it's learning. So when you're asking for an output, you need to provide context as much as you can. What are you looking for? Under what conditions? So that it starts learning about you. Plus, it then creates a much better output. So when you write a good prompt, big, complete sentences, ask questions, be clear on the output, and provide context. Now, here's a really good example of what I asked for first a prompt, and then I'll show you what the output looked like. So I said to Copilot that, and you'll see my examples, most of them are selling technology to a CIO. So I said, I want to send out these emails. I want to understand the best way to do it. What should the strategy be? I want to know how to personalize mails. What are CIOs worried about? And how can I measure this thing? And then I said, please create a prompt for me that would take into account all of these elements. And this was the output. So that's why I'm saying I don't even write my own prompts. I get Copilot to write them for me. And then you'll see the picture on the right-hand side. I said, please give me a cartoon of a CIO sending an email. And then just below it, you'll see later on, Copilot gives me, and they both do actually, it gives you indications of, do you want other stuff? So it said there, would you like him drinking a cup of coffee? So I said yes, so it recreated it. And this was the picture I got. So let me show you the output of this particular prompt. So you've seen the prompt, and what I'm trying to do is saying, I want to send a series of emails to a CIO, specifically in, I think I mentioned Yazi Manufacturing. Now, there you go. And what should I send? So this is now Copilot, and here's the prompt that I put in. So this is copilot.microsoft.com. Here's the prompt that I put in. I just pasted it. I started a new prompt and I pasted it. And then here it says, creating a cadence, you need to do the following. So initial research and segmentation. It then told me what to send and in what order. And then it said, if you want to personalize, these are the things you need to look at. And again, specifically to a CIO in a manufacturing organization. So understand their pain points, incorporate industry specific, leverage data and insights. And then I said, how do I track this? And these were the 4 areas that it said that you want to track. And then it says, would you like more information? Now, what I could do is continue to ask. So I could say, okay, so, and all I have to do is say, okay, email number 1, can you give me examples? And it would generate an example for me. So you can see that I put in the initial thing. It's given me this information that I've got here. Now I could say, what do you think should go into the introduction email? This value proposition email, what element should I add? So now what I'm doing is I'm building on my initial prompt. So that's why I'm saying when you look at a good prompt, you can see that it's a lot of detail. You can't just say, what email should I send a CIO of a manufacturing organization? It's just not enough detail. And the problem is when the tool doesn't know what you're looking for and you're not specific, sometimes it can find information that might not be even correct or what you're looking for. Remember, what this thing's doing is effectively an algorithm. It's going to a whole host of websites, it's getting the information, and it then comes back to you with what it finds in natural language. Now, one other thing that I just wanted to show you here is the one really cool thing about using Copilot that ChatGPT doesn't do is that it references the source. Because this is a big risk when it comes to generative AI, is potentially you think you're doing a great job and you're breaking copyright. So what this does is when it gives you this info, it actually gives you the source as well. So that's really cool. Please feel free to ask any questions as I'm going if you have any. And Jean will have a look at the chat, or you could put your hand up. So there's an example of a good prompt. And I just want to go back to this is very important. Go back to what is a good prompt. Complete sentences, frame the questions, ask a lot of questions, be clear on what you're looking for, provide the context. And you'll see all my examples will do this. Right. So now what I want to do is go through, some examples. Now, I want to show you one here of asking the right questions. So what I ask, and this is me and my, offbeat sense of humor. So I said notes from the field. So these are things that work for me. And my sense of humor was, please give me a woman who is scribbling notes in a field during a brainstorming session. Now, when I started, I didn't say woman. I said, give me a person in a field who is writing notes. Then it came back to me and it said, would you like it to be a brainstorming session? So I said, yes. And then I really like picture 3. So I said, I really like picture 3, but I don't want it to be a man. Please, can you change it to a woman? And then this person had a tablet. And I said, I don't like the tablet. Please change it to a pad with a pen. And this is what I ended up with. So again, these are examples just how clever this is and how you can create really beautiful personalized pictures. Now, a couple of pieces of advice. I've been using this quite a while. One of the best ways to set context is to tell the engine, so in my case, Copilot, to tell it who you are and how that impacts on the output. So all of my prompts start with, I am a sales trainer, or I do soft skills training, or I am doing a course on sales management. So immediately I'm telling it how to think. And then I say, think like and then I decide on the level. So I had to put something together for a group of workers. Other times I'll say, think like a leader, think like a university student. And so that then determines the level. So when you create a prompt, one of the things you want to do is set the context of who you are. Now, remember that the prompts will build on each other as you keep going down. So you don't have to write an entire essay up front. So you could say, I want you, I am a, and I put that information, and I need to create this. Now, you could be quite specific, or you could just press enter, let it run, and then continue to ask your questions. So that's the act as if. Now, the other part to this is do not, if you're looking for new information, don't go below a previous query, because what it'll do is the prompt, it will work on what you've done before. So that prompt is always contextualized. So you have to start a brand new query if it's a new topic. Build on your questions. I mentioned, be clear with your instructions. More detail is better than less. And then please, I want to stress this, train the large language model. Keep showing it examples of what you like. Keep giving it examples of your outputs. If you really like something that's been really cool, plug it back in and say, in future, when I ask you for this, I want you to use this. And it trains itself. And then the other thing I didn't mention is build templates. So I'll give you an example on the next slide of where I've built a template that I just keep using over and over again. So that's the other good thing here is you can build query templates that you're using quite regularly. So for example, you might send a series of emails, and then the template would say, send an email under these conditions, and the template's always the same. You just change the people's details. All right, so let's go through these use cases. So the first one is, how do you find new leads? So how do you look for opportunities? The second one is, before you ask for a meeting, how can I research specific customers? Third one is, how do I write a series of emails that will allow a person to want to meet with me? Or I could set up what we call a cadence. In other words, an email, a telephone call, and a LinkedIn post. And I could ask Copilot to do that for me. Plan and prepare for the meeting. What should I talk about? I can create agendas. I can preempt questions they might ask. I can say, typically, what are some of the challenges a CIO would face that I could focus on? What would they find valuable? How are they measured? So that allows me to prepare for the meeting. In the meeting, I can manage objections. So I could say, potentially, what questions do you think they'll have? How do I respond to those? By the way, you could even set it up that it talks to you, that you can say, every time that I give you a response, or you give me a response, I want you to wait for my next question and respond accordingly. So you can actually set up like a little tool that allows you to manage objections. You can ask it for follow-up strategies. So when you get that silence where the person isn't responding to you, you can say, I'm struggling to get hold of this company. We had a meeting about this. I thought it went quite well. They're not responding. What do you suggest? And it'll give you follow-up strategies. And then this is my favorite, and I got plenty of these. You can self-coach. So you can ask it questions, it'll give you information. What are the 3 best ways to? How do I close meetings? Can you give me the 3 most effective closing strategies? How do I write a good proposal? So that would all be self-coaching. You can ask how to cross-sell. You can build your LinkedIn profile this way, and all your LinkedIn information and your posts. You can use social media. So what I'm going to do, we don't have a huge amount of time, is I'm going to take you through the prompts and then I'm going to show you what it looks like, the output. Now, we will share with you the recording, and I will share this presentation with you. So you will have access to my prompts. So let me take you through this so we don't run out of time. So this is what I meant by a template. So my template says, I want to find new leads. Who should I speak to? Now, this is a very simple one. I'm looking for sales prospects, or I'm looking for, in this case, South African companies who meet the following criteria. And then I list those criteria. So in this case, here's my template. Can you provide me with a list of companies in whichever industry that meet the criteria I mentioned earlier? So what it's going to do now is all I have to do is fill out who's the sales prospects, what's the industry, what are the criteria. So I can use the template. So let me show you an example here of how I do that. So this is the template here. I'm looking for South African companies who meet the following criteria. There they are. Can you provide me with the companies that meet the criteria? Now, what I said here, they must be in manufacturing, they must have more than 500 employees, they must be looking to leverage AI, and they must be concerned about security. And then it gave me these companies. So tell me, go and speak to Sasol, ArcelorMittal, and Nampak and Bell Equipment. Now, if I run it again, I say, give me 10, it'll give me more detail. But the nice thing is, if, for example, it's saying go to Nampak, and it's saying that, Nampak is battling, how clever is this? So if I look here, South Africa leads in AI adoption, but at what cost? Now, this has got an article specifically where Nampak has looked at AI and what the impact was. So this is what I meant by the referencing. So yeah, how AI is being used in South Africa business tech. So again, it's referencing Sasol there. The middle one, again, it's giving me this reference, Bell Equipment, again, AI adoption in South Africa. So what it's done is not only is it giving me companies to potentially look at, it's also giving me references of what I could use in the emails to them that would be interesting. Now, really, really cool. Now, the second thing that you can do, which I haven't done here, but I'll show you on the website one. But the second thing you can do is, depending on which version you have, the one that I have, which is the one with 365, allows you to bring in a PDF or a Word document to summarize or to query. Otherwise, it will allow you to go through an image. Now, it considers an image as if you turn a PDF into any image file, it can read the data. But if you're using the 365 one, there's a reason that I haven't got it here, but you'll see a little clip here. And in that little clip, I can say, I'd like you to, based on this company profile, this PDF, give me this detail. Now, what I've done rather is I've asked for it to go to the website. Now, there's only one problem with generative AI in this context, is that it won't give you people. And that's because of privacy. But in this case, have a look at what I've asked for here. So I've identified this GVK. And I say, GVK Siyazama. And I say, go to the website, provide me with discussion points I can use as a technology salesperson. Who would you identify as the core stakeholders I should speak to? So then it gives me, talk to them about this. But again, what it's done, it's not sucking this out of its thumb. It's gone to the website and had a look at information about this company. And so it goes and looks for any reference. And then it's telling me, talk about innovation, talk about safety, talk about green, talk about data management, client and project management. And these are the people I think you should be talking to. Now, what I can then do is I then said, okay, So now I know who to talk to. Have they made any recent announcements that I can reference? And it then said, well, they've just completed this really big project in Cape Town, and there's the reference. They've got these industry challenges and government collaboration, and they've got these significant project wins. So now I've got an indication of the top announcements they've made. So if I'm going to mail them, I can say, I noticed recently that you've just completed this particular project. Well done. Help you in the following way, or our technology can help you do the following. So what I've done here is I've said, who should I speak to? And then I can research particular organizations. And that then gives me a reason to speak to them. Okay, so that's the first one, find new leads. So the way that you do this, and I'm not going to go into detail here, but the way to build this up, describe what you sell first to the tool. Say, can you give me recommendations for buyers who would purchase this? So you can say, we have worked with IT organizations over the last 20 years. Who would you recommend? Or which industries do you think would be the most likely to use our services? Then I would say, pick one industry and then ask for information about specific companies in the industry. And then pick one industry, ask for recommendations of companies, pick one company, ask for information about that company. So that allows you to target the market. Now, it won't give you on websites, it won't give you information about the people. If, like in the case of a PDF, those people are referenced, it will. Or if you say, like we had one a while ago, where there was a new initiative, it picked up the new initiative and it said that this company was looking at rolling out a key account management program. And inside of the announcement was the name of the person involved. So there's your first one. How do we identify the market? The other thing we can do, as I showed you, is global trends, changes, announcements, reports. And I can analyze websites, company profiles, annual reports, all sorts of things to get more information about that company. All right, now the second one is researching pain points. So these look at things like, what are their priorities? So if you identified a specific stakeholder and you say, how is this particular stakeholder measured? What's important to them? How do they measure success? What are their pain points? What do they need to get done? What are their common challenges that they face? So any industry you want to go speak to and you want to understand them in more detail, we've understood the company. Now I want to understand the individual. So in this case, back to my Copilot, I've asked, what are the challenges in a manufacturing industry that a person would have when buying technology solutions? And again, it's saying and again, I could have gone with the CIO. In this case, I've just said a IT buyer in manufacturing, supply chain disruptions, integration, initial cost, cybersecurity, workforce training, downtime, and maintenance. Now, what I want to do is I want to focus on cybersecurity and workforce training. So now when I share my value proposition, I'm going to focus on those two areas. So again, it allows me, in this case, not only can it tell me who to speak to, it allows me to research people that I want to talk to. So that's researching the buyer's pain points. So that's the second use case. The third use case is write an email to request a meeting. Now, let me show you how clever this is. So Jean had a meeting, this is a different one. I'll show you Jean's now. But let's say I had an email. I want to request a meeting. I tell the system that it's got to do this stuff. Now, this is what we teach in our training. So this comes straight out of our Inside Selling course on how to write a good email. So then what I did is I took this information and I wrote this prompt. I want you to write an email to an IT manager of a manufacturing company outlining how we can help them with their cybersecurity concerns and that we will help them to train up the users. The email needs to have the following, and there's all that stuff. Now, there's one little area here which I should have picked up on, but let me show you what it looks like. So when I generated this, here's the email. So it's given me a really good enhancing your cybersecurity proven solutions for manufacturing. So it gave me a really nice subject. And then it said, my name is, I'm reaching out because I understand the unique cybersecurity faced by manufacturing companies. With over there, you see, it's giving me the 20 years of experience. It's only here, instead of I, it should say we. So I could change that. We've helped numerous organizations protect their critical assets. Our approach combines blah, blah, blah. Now, I've picked this up based on those needs. Then I said, why you want to choose us? Well, got a proven track record, a holistic approach, customized solutions. Again, please, you never send these without editing, but it does give you the starting track. And then it said, I'd love the opportunity to discuss how we can enhance your cybersecurity posture. Could we schedule a call next week to explore this further? Again, you could make some changes. This was the very first email that I created. But let me tell you how the human brain works. The human brain is brilliant in edit mode. You create far better emails when you have something down on paper than if you have to write it from scratch. So it's far better to learn how to write these emails, the prompts, because generally it's going to be a standard template. So you could say, you could use this template and then say, we want to talk to you about. This is what makes us really good. This is why you should speak to us. And you can set up the template. And then you just fill in the gaps. So here is, again, an example of a really good email. And it's not bad for a first pass. That gives me the detail I need. So in terms of what we said is I can identify companies. I can identify individuals and what their challenges are. I can write an email to request a meeting. And then what I said to you, what I showed you earlier, I can even create an entire campaign. So I want to reach this particular company about this. What would you suggest would be the better ways to do this? Could you give me the wording? So if you start working with this, in this case, it's just one email. But I could create a whole cadence, as I showed you earlier. Or I could create a social media campaign. Or I could create a LinkedIn campaign. Or I could create an email campaign. I could combine all three of those. And all I'm doing is I'm asking questions of the engine. Okay, so now we've understood the customer, we've understood the individual, we've sent them an email and they've agreed to see us. So now I want to prepare for the meeting. Now watch this one. So I'm asking it that I want you to start with a question to identify their challenges. I want you then create follow-up questions for me and use the response to ask for a list of discovery questions. So here's my prompt. So what problems and challenges do buyers of IT services and IT consulting in manufacturing have related to finding the right IT solutions and consulting partner? What discovery questions should a salesperson ask a CIO in a sales call and then turn this into an agenda? So look at what the result looks like. So there's the query at the top. What problems do they have? What discovery question should I ask, and create an agenda? So now what I've done is it says, typically these are the problems. And again, all referenced. So if I had said specific companies, but in this case, I'm talking specifically about, IT struggles. And then it gives me discovery questions to ask a CIO. How's this? Now, this is what we teach. What are your biggest challenges? How do they impact? What are you hoping to achieve? Who makes the decisions? Who's involved in that decision? What are you currently using? So it's helping me. And again, the more you train the engine, the more it's going to give your information. So you could, if you attended our course, you could get it to first look at the manual, and it would give information based on our manual as well. So you could say, these are the questions, all right? And then it said, please create an agenda for me. And I didn't like it. So it created an agenda with 8 points. So then I said, really sorry, you should have asked before, could you turn this into a table, please? And here's the agenda. So it now took and I said, I want you to create a table with duration and with a brief description. So then here I created the table. So it tells me exactly what I need to focus on. Again, I can then edit this. So anytime you're preparing for the meeting, you can use this to get the information you need and to create a good agenda. What should be the structure of the meeting, things like that. Now, remember what it's doing is it's going to existing sources, coming back with this valuable information. But again, it's specific to IT, and then you can change it. Now, if you know a lot about the company already, you can say, I'm about to meet with a CIO in an IT organization. This is what they've told me. These are some of the challenges. Please create an agenda for me. And then you can edit it. So in terms of the use cases, you've got number 4 is we've got the meeting now. Now we're planning and preparing for the meeting. Now, the relevant information for the meeting, I'm just going to show you one example, which is a sell sheet. But you can ask it to build an executive summary. You can ask to build a case study. You can even ask it what would go into the presentation. What are the elements that should go in the presentation? But what I want to show you, just an example of how you can build a prompt that would create a sell sheet. So this would be like a single sheet around the basic value, features and benefits. So here is the sell sheet. So I'm saying that they want to talk to me about territory management, sales training. So how do you manage a territory? All right. The 4-hour session needs to provide the sales rep with all the fundamentals I need to know how to do this stuff. And the benefits is this. Features include this. And the next step is to ask for a proposal. The call to action is to tell them to request a proposal for a customized session. So this is the sell sheet that I want to create. So this is the resource I keep with me. So a sell sheet is the resource I will use if I am presenting to the customer about how we can help them. So again, back to my Copilot. This is what it looks like now. So there's my prompt. Here's the result. So now it's created an overview. Join our comprehensive 4-hour training session. Here are the benefits of attending. Here are the features of the course. Here are the next steps. So it's taken a mess and it's turned it into really good, strong language. Now, if I wanted to, I could say, well, could you make a more persuasive language to make this more easy to read? Or could you include something? Like if you look at that picture I showed you earlier with all those people and the headings, all I said was create a diagram with these headings in it. And it created that for me. So here I've said, I want you to create this sheet for me. And then look how much nicer this is. So it's giving me the overview, the benefits, the features, put it into really nice bullet points. Everything is much easier to use. And then here you can see, can you add some visuals to the sell sheet? So I wanted to leave this open to show you. So here it's saying, can you add some visuals? How do I create a proposal? So what it's doing is it looks at what it's given you. Look at all these lovely resources that it's picked it up from. And now you can say, well, I want you to add some stuff. So I just want to show you quickly. So when you say, can you add some visuals? It now says, I'll try to create that. And this is what I was saying about the 4 elements. So now it's going to create a visual around territory management, sales training. Now, I could have given it a lot more detail. than I am now. But this is what it's come up with. And that's just kind of first pass. And I could then, what I say, well, I really like slide 2, but I would like it to be more, inclusive. And it'll then change a whole lot of people to make it more inclusive. Or I could say, could you put a pot plant in the corner? It'll do it. So you can see here. So can I add my logo? How do I create a proposal? That all gets added. So not only does it create this lovely sell sheet, it's given me some graphics that I can add to it. All right, so you can create all of these things here, executive summaries, proposals, case studies, whatever, by asking the engine to do this for you. Again, it's not about even understanding the language as much as being patient and asking enough of the right questions. And you've got to understand, it'll just keep adjusting. It's wonderful. Just be aware, by the way, when you do pictures, that they do limit the amount you can do in a day, because other people, as people abuse it. So it works on a series of tokens. So just be aware it'll reset the next day. Okay, so that's the next one. And then the number 5 is what happens if we have objections. Now I want to show you this one. So what concerns would a buyer of corrugated boxes at a manufacturing company have about switching box suppliers? What questions could a buyer of corrugated box ask a salesperson? What objectives might they have to our sales pitch? Please give me a clear response in less than 100 words that lets the buyer know our company runs 2 shifts and has plenty of capacity. Now, the reason I know this bottom one is because of those questions above. So just so you know, I've cheated. But by asking those top 3 questions in the into Copilot, it then gave me the answers. And the biggest one was, can you do it in a hurry? Do you have the capacity? And can we see your manufacturing plant? So when you look again at my Copilot, this is switching box suppliers. So let me show you how it went right from the top. So what concerns would a buyer of corrugated boxes have about switching suppliers? Gives me all this information. Out of that, I said, okay, what questions might they ask? And it gave me the questions they could ask. So I now know that these are potentially the questions. And then I said, please give me a clear response. So I've chosen that it's 100 words and that we run 2 shifts. So it then gave me this answer. Our company operates 2 shifts, ensuring we have ample capacity. I didn't like it because it was too stiff and formal. So I said, please use more persuasive language. So now look at the difference. Our company operates 2 shifts, ensuring we have the capacity and flexibility to meet your volume requirements seamlessly. We are confident in our ability to support your needs and would love to demonstrate our capabilities. We warmly invite you. Now, I just wanted to show you the difference in language by just saying, please use more persuasive language. So in this case, we have the meeting. I can prepare for it. I can figure out what I'm going to share in the meeting. And then here I can figure out what objections might they have. How do I preempt it? So I can use the tool to help me with those objections. And you can actually turn this into a game if you want to, where you can say, give me an objection, wait for my response, and adapt accordingly. So there is a way of turning it into almost like a learning tool. So that's manage objections. Follow-up strategy. Now, this is the one I was referring to, John. So we had a meeting. Customer asked for sales management training. So this is word for word John's email. All right. So this is what he said. This is what I understand. Key requirement, blah, blah, blah. These are the requirements. These are, and then I just said, that include next steps of sending the quote and meeting up next week to finalize. Now, nothing wrong with Jean's. He writes good emails. But what I wanted to show you, as you can see here, what he did in this case was, this is what I understand your requirements to be. This is what we agreed. And, you said you want to see some of Tim's stuff. So now, when I go to Copilot, here's the email. Again, look at the way that the language fits in. So this is what I put in. Here's the language. Hi, Mary. Thank you for your time today. It was great to meet you. I'd like to confirm my understanding of our short chat and our next steps. You discussed and it created really nice and bulleted points. Again, great language. So all it's done is tighten it up, check for spelling, grammatical errors, whatever, fix that up. Next steps, I'll send you the quotes. Let's meet next week to finalize the details. Looking forward to meet you. So again, you would have to, here you can see it's American English, so we'd have to fix that. And you might want to change one or two things here. But again, the difference is all you have to do is you're writing notes. So instead of Jean having to think as hard as he did here, all you do is you write the notes, you plug it into the tool, and it creates the confirmation email for you. So all you have to do is copy and paste it from, the notes that you made. So that's an example of a follow-up. So we've had our meeting. Now this is the follow-up. Then I've got a whole lot of these. So this is where you can learn stuff. So describe a scenario where a sales rep is trying to get the first order and must deal with the following circumstances. And then return the scenario in a format mimicking the conversation. So this is my standard. And then here where we talk about the circumstances, I then just put in the circumstance. You can get it to analyze your team's transcripts. So if you know Teams, it creates a transcript. I'm sure Zoom does as well. You can get it to analyze your transcript. You can get it to analyze your emails, and it gives you feedback and recommendations. You can get it to give you a whole lot of selling tips. I got a book of these, an entire book. I'll reference it if you want to know about it. That gives you all the prompts you can use to learn stuff across the entire sales environment. So this is how you can do self-coaching. So let me just show you this quickly. So this is the sales pitch to risk-averse customers. So what I've said here was that the salesperson trying to get the first order and must deal with the following circumstances. Customers risk-averse and committed to staying with their provider. And then it creates the whole storyline of potential ways. Now, as I said, you could step this. In other words, it only moves to the next thing once you've given an answer. So here it gives you all the story that potentially could happen and potential responses. Now, here's an example of an email that I sent. And again, it's saying, why don't you use this email? And it gives you reasons why you need to go to this email. So you get them to, you get them to look at the email. It gives you a recommendation and tells you why. So that's self-coaching. We're nearly done. Cross-selling. I love this one. This is my favorite one, actually. I sell printed marketing collateral to a customer. The customer works with me because we provide all of these good things. The customer also buys trade show displays, which my company also sells. Why would it make sense for the customer to purchase trade shows displays from my company? Based on the information, please provide me with a step-by-step plan to get a meeting to present this information to the client or the customer within 30 days. A bit messy. I could have done it a bit better. But here's my creates a meeting plan. Watch out. So number one, it says, this is the reason why you want to work with me, because I've already given you this. You've already seen our quality, we're reliable, our consultation services, etc. So it took my value prop from what they like about my printing, and it explained why you want to cross-sell. And then it gives me a plan. So number one, it says, do this research. So gather data on that, get some feedback, and then send a personalized email, and it creates an email for you. So I hope, given our successful collaboration, I want to talk about how we could further support your trade show needs. We offer these quality trade show, blah, blah, that offer this. Could we schedule a meeting? And then it says 7 to 10 days, do this, schedule a meeting, and it gives me the rest of the detail. But now what I loved is this email that it creates for me. Again, what I'm doing is, A, it's saving me time. B, it's helping me be more creative. And it really does give you great information from best practices. So that's the cross-selling. Number 9 is LinkedIn. So write a compelling about section on LinkedIn. These are the key words, and give me 5 LinkedIn headlines. And then the other one I didn't put in today, write a short LinkedIn recommendation. So if you want recommendations on LinkedIn, here's a template. But have a look at this profile. So straight into LinkedIn. So I asked it here to give me about me. So I said, here's my information. Here's the about me that it's created for me. So as a seasoned sales professional specializing in bank onboarding software, I bring blah, blah, blah with a deep understanding I'm passionate about. And then it's given me LinkedIn headlines, which, by the way, if you know LinkedIn and you've tried it, these are always really difficult to figure out. So it's given me that headline at the top. So if you're going to use LinkedIn, and by the way, you know how we feel about this, we're big LinkedIn fans. You can ask LinkedIn not only to do this, to help you with your profile, you can also ask it to create a cadence of articles and really good, relevant, snippets of information, or go to trends in this particular area so that I can post it. So the Copilot can help you do that. And then you can say, hey, if you want a few more, can we refine it? So you can use this for a whole lot of things. And you can see all the way from what kind of customer should I approach? How do I approach them? What are their needs? How do I get their attention? How do I have the meeting? What questions do I ask? What objections could I get? How do I follow up afterwards? If they don't respond, what do I do then? If I need to cross sell, what do I do then? And here, if I'm going to use social media. And then that's the last one. I just wanted to show you the last one. So the 10 is content. So if you're looking for blog posts, scripts, Instagram reels, you can ask it to create for you. So that's just the last one I wanted to show you. So I said, have a look at the script. So I said, act as if you're a sales trader who teaches sales professionals how to use generative AI to increase their sales success. Provide 5 titles for blog articles I could use. Give me the headings and 1 paragraph to describe each topic. And it's given me 5 really good topics to have a look at. So if I wanted to run those blog articles, and it's taken it from all sorts, and then, yeah, look at this. I like the first topic, expand on that. So I could say, write the article on this, please, and then I'll edit. And each time, again, you can see its reference for you. So we've got a few minutes. I just want to go here and give you the 10 uses that I mentioned. Find new leads, research buyer meetings, request the meeting, plan and prepare, manage objections, follow-up strategies, self-coaching, cross-selling, LinkedIn, social media. Now, as always with these sessions, we have flown through info, stuff that would normally take much longer to teach. What I want to suggest to you is, as always with the Sales Institute, if you show the interest and you want to learn more, please contact us. So that, if you have specific questions, how do I do this? Could you give me some advice? Do you have more resources? I've been spending a lot of time on this over the last 3 months. So, if you want to put together a learning program around using Copilot specifically, and it will translate to ChatGPT. Happy to do that. So please, these are just 10 of a whole lot more I could have brought up. I just wanted to show you how versatile generative AI is and how helpful it can be in your sales business. It really is, the only limitation is your ability to write prompts. Okay, so I'd really like to spend just the last few minutes covering any questions or comments you have, anything that wasn't clear, or any advice you might need around this topic. So please feel free to type it out or to put your hand up and unmute yourself. I mean, we all know each other just about. So I don't know if you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like me to discuss further or to take into more detail. Always leave the last few minutes for this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Let's go. No questions. Was Tim that good? I think he was, but that's just me. And I'm biased anyway. Ah, here we go. William's typing something up for us quickly, Tim. Can you see the chat?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, so if you're not going to type anything, I'm just waiting for the chat, is just give me a feedback on if this has been helpful, if you're going to apply this, you can see the value. I've given you an indication of where to start. So I'm not sucking up here or trying to get positive feedback, but if you found this helpful and you'd like to take this forward, please just give me a thumbs up. I just want to get your impressions on what you've experienced today, or your feedback on what you've got.
Thanks, William. Appreciate that,
Yeah,
bud.
please. Listen, happy to give you more time. Hey, this is my baby. I'm very passionate about this topic. So I'm going on leave next week, but let's book some time. Happy to chat to you. I did see a few thumbs up.
Thank you.
Even got applause. Thank you. So as I said, we will share the PowerPoint. And then I do have a couple of other prompts. I will reference a book. So instead of copying and pasting from the book, there's a book that helps you with self-coaching. And it gives you a whole lot. There are two very good books that are both not expensive, available on Kindle, that will give you some really good prompts related to sales and some really good self-coaching tools. So we'll definitely send you those links and the recording, as John said.
Guys, please don't forget, if you do miss out or you don't get the recording, or you want to just get somebody else to go and have a look at the recording, it will be posted on the alumni tab on our website as well. Tim, that looks like that's it from a question and answer session today. So thank you very, very much for being available to us. I'm going to put my camera on, I suppose. That's probably a good idea, hey? Thanks very much for that, Tim. I know I learned some stuff that I didn't know, and I've been playing with Copilot for about a month now. I wasn't aware that I could do all this cool stuff. Not sure that I'd have a job in a year, Tim, if you keep doing this so well. But there we go. All right, so what are we doing next? Next time is the 16th of October. Can you believe that's our penultimate session of the alumni webinar series for this year? Will be next month on the 16th of October. An associate of ours, a lady by the name of Corinne Gimmicken, is going to talk to us around trusting your voice in the sales space. Tim, you had a better title. What was that again? Can you remember?
It was added to that was sell with confidence.
Sell with confidence. Thank you. The reason we're excited about this particular one is so many of us, especially when we're young in sales, will say things like, you know, I'm only the salesperson. I'm only the salesperson. Well, you're not. You're a professional. So Corinne's going to talk to us about how do you trust your voice and how do you avoid this whole imposter syndrome thing. And that's on the 16th of October, same time, same place. Look forward to seeing you there. The invites will probably go out during the course of this week or early next. Please enjoy your day off on Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you on the 16th of October. Tim, thanks again. We're all done here, folks. Tim and I'll hang
Wonderful.
around for a
Thank you
minute
for
or two.
attending.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will hang around a bit just in case there's somebody who wants to talk to us. But the rest of you, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to leave now.
Even applause.